Hello! This is the One Episode Rule, a podcast about first impressions. I am Magpie, rapidly eating that golden conway. I'm gonna
Mm.
have to start considering what's next.
I know. It's
I
it's
th
good feasting.
I think it might be Odd Taxi, but
Yep.
we'll get into that later.
Yep.
How are you guys? What have you been doing?
I'm Blackall. I've been doing pretty good. Mostly been doing real life stuff.
Hmm.
Trying to remember what I did this weekend. Can't remember. It's
Nothing
gone.
that intersects with
Nothing
the
there.
weeb sphere.
Nothing.
Ain't nothing in there.
Ain't nothing in there.
Fair enough. Hello, I'm Joey. I've also been slacking on my anime duties. Not very good little student of the craft lately. I've got a very different kind of disease right now, which we won't talk about.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've just been hanging out.
I learned about so many anime today.
Oh
You're
my,
all you're all fucking in for it.
we're
Oh my.
doomed, aren't we?
Because I needed to refresh my knowledge of what's new and hip in the medium to provide us with things to watch whenever we're sitting around going, oh, we're gonna watch
We're
today.
gonna watch
I
videos,
don't
show,
know.
videos, pick.
Um, but anyway, you guys want some news?
Yeah, let's have some news.
Micro news option, like fragmentary news, spec. Uh, Apparently there's going to be an Odd Taxi live action. I
Yes,
can't find any news covering it in English, so I
unfortunate.
don't know that much about it.
Well, give it some time. Maybe.
But
How?
I've got a tentative subtitle or name attached to it, which is Odd Taxi Route, which might be something to do with taxi route.
That's fun.
I don't even know if it's a series or a film.
Interesting.
I kind of hope it's a film because it will be easily consumable for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay. On to real news. I've got neutral news, bad news, and then good news.
Mm-hmm.
The neutral My Hero Academia or Macadaka is apparently going to end in August. It's
Do they
just going to
call it
be
that?
it's just going to be fucking over. The manga is 5 chapters out
I
from the
I
end.
don't know why I thought that Magadaka was already done. I don't know why I
Well, it's
thought
not.
that. Well, it's going to be then.
Um, but I thought that was big enough to cover.
Yeah, that's big enough to cover.
That's a big property.
It is.
I know so very little about it.
I've seen a
I
couple
know there's a
seasons.
I know there's a killer whale man in it, and I'm enthused about that. But anyway, okay, on to anime. Crime, not crime, scandal. Um, Toru Furuya, the veteran anime voice actor behind characters like Sabo from One Piece
Mm-hmm.
and Rei Furuya.
He's a
What am I?
Detective Conan.
Furuya from Detective Conan has withdrawn from both roles because he has been found out for having a 4.5 year extramarital affair with a female fan in her 30s,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, I've heard about this.
who which he admitted to and apologized for apparently physically assaulting her on at least one case and
Yikes.
pressuring her to have an abortion.
Whoa. My God.
So yeah, apparently it's a real piece of
Real
work,
piece of shit, huh?
and suddenly at least one piece has to replace Sabo
Yeah, that's wild.
because his talent agency has informed them that he will no longer be pursuing the
Well,
role.
from what my other friend was saying, who my friend who is a huge Detective Conan like person, the like
Mhm.
what the character there was like characters in that were like named for this person.
Mm.
Like it's kind of like a huge deal actually.
Hmm. Well, he's gone.
He's gone. He sucked.
Kind of a piece of shit, apparently.
Uh-huh.
And finally, new Ranma 1/2 anime officially announced. They're
Whoa!
gonna make that.
They're gonna make
Cool.
that.
I think that's great. I feel almost I kind of feel like 80s anime remakes are pretty cool
Yeah.
because I like to see the sort of rounded, bubbly 80s style translated to really crisp digital animation. I think it
Uh-huh.
looks very nice.
Yeah.
Um,
That's fun.
and this is stacking up to look that way. I've seen some key art of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so people who are big into Rumiko Takahashi's
Well,
shit
they
will like
remade
that.
Urusei Yatsura fairly recently. Maybe
This,
they'll
this
redo
is true.
Inuyasha. They probably won't redo Inuyasha for a while, I think.
Only if they could get that scratchy voiced motherfucker from the English dub.
Agome!
Why did he sound like that? but,
Because, listen, dog boy, free your
but
mind.
anyway, that's the news. Uh, all that's fit to speak. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Jojo, you said you had something for us to watch today.
Yes, I do have something for us to watch, and it's something that I've seen some of my other friends enjoying, and it's called The Apothecary Diaries.
Oh, yeah, that was in my new pile of ammunition.
Well,
Yeah, I
I
was.
figured it might be on the list, but
Yeah. Let's hit it.
yep, let's do it.
Let's learn all about pharmaceuticals.
And my prescription for you is, for God's sake, stop putting poison on your face. Why do so many of you put poison on your face?
Bleaching a baby?
Why is it in everything? Because I'm pretty sure I've actually heard of the problem in this. And the thing is they used to put arsenic in fucking everything.
Oh, it's arsenic, huh?
Yeah.
I was wondering what the poison was
I
supposed to
know
be.
I know at least one skin whitening compound used by the Victorians had arsenic in them. And yeah, you ever wonder why they needed so many fucking fainting couches?
It's because of the arsenic, probably.
It was also in the wallpaper and the dresses.
I mean,
So
yeah, people loved mercury back then too, didn't they?
well, the Chinese especially love
Yeah.
mercury, but that's a whole different thing.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
But
listen, it's a
uh,
tale as old as time. Humanity loves eating poison.
it loves to eat
Yeah.
poison.
Anyhow, let's talk
So
about this show, though.
I'm going to read this blurb because I don't do this too often.
Okay.
So, um, Meow, an apothecary's daughter, has been plucked from her peaceful life and sold to the lowest echelons of the imperial court. Now merely a maid, Meow settles into her new mundane life and hides her extensive knowledge of medicine in order to avoid any unwanted attention. Not long after Mow's arrival, the Emperor's infant children inexplicably begin to experience grave symptoms, almost as if a curse had been cast. The curious Meow easily solves the mystery, and to remain out of the limelight, attempts to leave an anonymous tip. Unfortunately, the dashing and perceptive eunuch Jin Shi sees through it and manages to single her out. In recognition of her talent, is promoted to lady-in-waiting for the emperor's favored concubine, Gyo Kuyo. As Mao continues to remedy the numerous ailments afflicting the imperial court, her pharmaceutical expertise quickly proves indispensable.
Yep.
Gyokuyo. Gyokuyo.
Yeah, it's I think the names in this one are going to be a little difficult.
Ancient Chinese names are
Uh-huh.
rough. um, but I think actually that's the worst one. so, so we'll call her Lady Gyo. You know, like the walking shark.
Yeah.
Like the walking shark.
So yeah, let's talk about this. Of note, this actually began with an intro, which is
Yes.
bucking the recent trend of shows having cold opens.
Yeah.
And even more notably, it's fucking gorgeous.
I did I did sit and just stare at this intro. Sometimes I space out for intros, but this one was very pretty. Like lots of very very artistic renditions of various flowers.
Yeah, a lot of flower imagery, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of night sky imagery.
Yes. There was some
And there's a kaleidoscope of flowering colors in the middle of it.
there was
Like,
like the forest, and it would like be flashing with what time of day it was.
yeah, it was quite good.
It was good. I liked it.
So it immediately made a good impression on me. But we open on young Mau Mau working the fields. She's just tending the garden of medicinal plants that her and her father have, and he seems to be somewhat old
Hmm.
for a dad of a kid of her age, but whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got like completely white hair. He's
he's a
kind
little
of like
hunched.
shriveled.
And he asked her to take some medicine down to Verdigris House, and she's like, okay, and it's just like, I'll stop and make sure to keep an eye out for kidnappers. That's been going up lately. And she's like, and I'll stop by the herb patch on the way home, and she's like, yes, do that. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and she heads off into the city. We go straight. Obviously, they aren't living deep in the countryside because we just go straight into like relatively like clean and populous Chinese city of the
Yeah,
of the imperial age.
it looks
Um,
pretty nice.
Looks like a neat place to walk around,
Mm-hmm.
but but she immediately heads to a whorehouse.
Yep.
So um, it's a little more complicated than that. They're courtesans, so their job is to be more than prostitutes.
Yeah.
Um, um, and yeah, there's a there's a fun scene where a guy has emptied out his whole savings on the table, and the old woman is just like, "This is peanuts." And catches a glimpse of one of the higher class courtesans, and he's just like, "Oh, that must be I can't remember what her name was,
I don't
but
remember.
it's like that. Yeah, that must be her, one of the three queens of the Verdigris house." And he's like, "If you're gonna ogle, pay for it."
Yeah, you gawk without paying up.
I like this old lady. I love a horrible old crone. Um, but yeah, while this is going on, Mau just slips into the back and does an interesting thing because you know the Asian custom of removing your shoes when you enter a house, but this is an Asian custom of removing your shoes whenever you climb onto a dais, um,
Hmm.
and scooting around on your knees. um, it's like okay. Um, but yeah, she's tinkering around with poultices and ingredients, and she's got she's one of her arms is wrapped up, and she's like, this is taking too long to heal. Maybe I need to adjust the mixture. And one of the courtesans is passing by. It's like, Mau Mau, is that you? Oh God, you're wounded again.
It's like, you do this to yourself?
Just like it's just my regular experimentation shit. It's like, don't do that.
Like, all
But
right.
it's a surprisingly intimate scene because she's just sort of sitting behind her,
Mm-hmm.
with her arms draped around her. It's just like, have they been feeding you well at home? And she's just like, well, you're clearly well fed. Mama has like some sort of like internalized like grudge against anyone who has tits.
Yeah.
She
It
simply does
comes up
not.
again later.
Um, and let me tell you, there are some. Um, the focus of this show seems to be like uh like medicine and beautiful women. That just seems to be
Uh-huh.
what's going on here. And sometimes beautiful men. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll get to how we should talk about them later.
Yes.
Um, not not something that really comes up in our daily lives anymore.
We'll get
But
to it.
yeah, and then the old lady comes around and she's like, you better not be blowing anything up for your experiments anymore. Or did you come to become a apprentice courtesan? And she's just like, I gotta go home.
It's like, here, what you trying to rope me into this.
Grandma always trying to get me to be a whore.
Graham, no.
Graham, no. And she's apparently quite popular there because several of the other courtesans was like, "Did I hear Mama? Was she just here?" Somebody's like, "Mama's here."
They're just like, oh, Mao just ran out.
Just like oh man.
Dang. She goes straight for the flower patch.
Yeah, she goes for the herb patch, and she doesn't realize she's being observed because she's flustered about Grandma. But
and this is also the sparkliest flowers and grass that I've ever seen.
She also
depicted.
like grows full cat ears for a second because she is just like genuinely enthused by
She's
herbalism.
so excited. She like rolls around in it like she's a cat in the catnip. She does.
She loves plants. Botanist coded. But yeah, while she's collecting her samples, yeah, there's just men, and they're just like, we got ropes.
Get them, boys.
And she's just like, oh, it couldn't be kidnappers, could it? And then the next scene, she's in a fucking basket on one of their backs, and she's just like, oh, Dad's gonna be really worried.
She's like surprisingly chill about it overall. She's just like, well, this is happening.
It's like there's not much I can do about it. And then it cuts to well, it doesn't quite cut there because it's the children have to be born first, right?
Yes.
Or is that after the time skip?
No, I think she's.
Well, we'll put it nebulously during the time skip.
Yeah.
Our next scene is actually of some important court people giving birth, basically. Not in a freak ass way, but in like a historical drama.
Yes.
Apparently,
it's a very short scene.
Lady Lihua is giving birth to the prince, one of the emperor's male children. Currently, the emperor's only male child. So it's a big deal. Yep. And it's wholesome too because they lay the kid beside her and they look happy and
yeah, they're very cute.
We get an aside with Lady Gyo and her redheaded child who is also the emperor's because this is all taking place in the rear palace, which we find out later that Meow has been made a servant at. The rear palace is where is a small city where the emperor keeps a garden of women to become his concubines.
He can just go there and go wild.
He just goes there and picks them to generate heirs for the dynasty.
It really is like a lady garden.
This is historically accurate. This is the kind of shit the Chinese emperors did. It contains nearly 2,000 concubines and 1,000. They describe them as formerly male, but they're eunuchs.
Yes,
and you know what that means.
I like to see representation, even though I mean like they're mask eunuchs. They're still eunuchs. And yeah.
But
I'm a femme eunuch.
But yeah, they described them as missing an important part of their anatomy, which I'm just like, yeah, that's and you know what? That didn't always stop them from getting up to trouble.
Sure.
It ain't hard to get on without it.
I was gonna say it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
They could easily get themselves in some shit. If you ever want to read what I would describe as like historical horror comedy, you can just read about anything eunuchs were doing in the Chinese court. Because they could easily get up to things that would get them literally set on fire.
They're just like, oh, you
scamps. Guess we gotta kill you. Guess we gotta like roll you in broken seashells and shit until you're dead. But yeah, the focus on them is it's not really important right now.
Pretty minimal. I think there's only like one or two of them in like that you actually get called out in this episode.
what is actually important is that we are rejoining Meow Meow because Meow Meow has been sold to the Rear Palace.
Yes, and it is 3 months later now.
Essentially as a servant. Now, sold isn't the correct word because I'm pretty sure what the deal is that the kidnappers are taking her wages, which is a fucked up situation.
Yeah.
But she's decided, being a cool-headed, intelligent sort, she's decided to sort of keep her head down to avoid getting stamped out because she's on the lowest rung of society in the Rear Palace, and servant girls can easily just be snuffed out at the whim of somebody in the higher in the food chain than them. But she appears to be a laundry girl mostly.
Yeah.
And it's a little nebulous what happens next. She walks around talking about things. Oh, her and her little laundry girlfriend. We're given an introduction to another servant girl who can't read. Which
she's like, oh, I don't know where to go.
She's like, I don't know where this tag goes. Where does this what does this basket go? And it's just like, oh, that's Wisteria 9. Take it over there. And she goes on about how almost none of the servant girls can read, and she isn't listed as being able to read because she's trying to keep her head down.
Yeah, she's like, I don't want to get
any
noticed.
promotion that she would get for being able to read would just lead to her kidnappers receiving more of her wages.
Yeah. She talks about like, oh, if I do this for long enough, I'll be able to get out of here in like a couple of years.
Yeah, 2 years or so.
Yeah.
She also talked about like the possibility of like social mobility, and that any servant girl could become a low-ranking courtesan and could become a mid-ranking courtesan from there. It was just like, what's important for that, however, is tits.
Yeah. She's like, I've got freckles and a flat chest. I ain't going there.
And I am wafer thin. And it's not happening. Anyway, is the next scene where they're talking about the handsome eunuch?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because after that, she's sitting there with her laundry friend, and she's going on about how apparently this one eunuch in the central area is so handsome, and Mount Mel's like only like half listening, and she's just like, "Oh, that's a shame. He can't get married, can't have children." And I kind of forget where some of the middle of the episode goes.
So they're talking about like, I think it skips like immediately to the rumors of some sort of curse.
Yeah, but I thought there was something in between those two, but whatever. I guess it's not important. While they're having lunch one time, the other girl is describing some rumors to her because apparently both of the children born before are sick, and so is Lady Lehua, the prince's mother. They're very ill, and she's like, what are the symptoms? Because she can't repress like her sort of doctorly instinct. She's curious about it. She's just like, oh yeah, well it's terrible. It's headaches and body aches,
Nausea,
and fatigue. She's like, huh, headaches and body aches. Wait, why am I thinking about this? And then the rumor too much. She's just like, curses are stupid. She's like, what?
Like, it's stupid and it's not my problem.
It's not my problem. And she goes about her work, but she can't stop thinking about it. She's like headaches and nausea. She's just like, well, it's not really my problem, but that doesn't mean I can't take a pee.
Sometimes whenever she's like thinking about her little doctory stuff, she goes into like, I guess you would just call it like the cartoony chibi mode. Just sort of like a devious little goblin energy.
She also has a tendency to grasp the end of her chin.
Yeah.
Very stereotypical thinking buzz. But yeah, she does sort of glide into the inner palace to sort of check things out, and while she's there, does actually run into a confrontation because Lady Luhua and Gyo are having a confrontation. Lady Luhua is desperate. She's wan and pale, and she is accusing Lady Gyo of casting a curse upon her son for being born male, for being the prince
The
elect.
chosen one, yes.
Um, whereas Lady Gyo is just like, that's ridiculous. My child is ill as well. It's just like, and as we cut back to Lady Meow, Lady Meow? Did I call her
Lady Meow.
Lady Meow?
Meow meow.
Meow Meow.
She's not even a lady. She's just a.
She's a servant girl. But oh, it's funny, and that we were getting the Greek chorus like notes from two eunuchs in front of her. It's funny. All of the eunuchs who aren't like named characters seem damn near identical. They're all wearing
Yeah,
the
they're
same
just kind of like
outfits.
chubby
They're
old
like
dudes.
clones. They're like clones of each other.
And this is when you become like, this is why you realize, whenever they were talking about the handsome eunuch, okay, yeah, whenever you see him, you understand why he stands out, because he's like effeminate and has very long hair.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
But yeah, and she's watching the whole scene and watching the doctor, and she's like, is that their doctor?
He sucks.
What an absolute quack. It's like, huh. He can't see what's happening already. Like, that's a
Because she's
shame.
already figured it out,
It's
obviously.
just well, I couldn't I wonder how I could tell them. And she steps away and she's like, if only I had something to write with. And she passes the handsome eunuch Jinchi, who has come down because he has been informed that the girls are fighting
The
in the
girls are
streets.
fighting.
And it is something that he has to deal with.
But he hears her talking to herself, and that will be important.
That will be important later. Um. Anyway, we move on from that scene to sort of intimate scenes with Gyo and Lahua. Um, they're both very concerned about their children. And later on, Lahua is walking the halls of her little pavilion, because each of the high class ones has their own. Basically, they have their own little mansion. And she sees a flower from a rhododendron placed on one of the windowsills with a scrap of paper tied around it, and she just sort of dismissively pushes it off outside. And unfortunately, the next scene is her collapsed on the floor in the middle of the night while it rained because the prince has passed.
Yeah, she is screaming,
the poor
sobbing.
The poor baby did not make it.
She didn't make it.
And I forget exactly how this shakes out, but yeah, there's a scene with there's a scene with Gyo and her child, and her kid looks better. And she is talking with Jinshi, and she's just like, "I need you to find me whoever wrote this." And she has the message from the rhododendron, which is the white face powder is poison. Don't let the baby touch it.
Yeah.
Which is obviously advice that she took. And the child is doing much better. And Jinshi is just like, that's interesting. And he immediately remembers Mao Mao talking to herself, and he's just like, yes, I think I'll be able to find her. We cut back to Mao Mao. She's just going about her day. She's getting the news that the prince died, because the rumors take a while to get around the railroad. It's not like everybody's looped in. They don't bother to tell everybody everything. It's none of the servants' business. And she's just like, typical. It's just like, but the other kids, it's all right. She's just like, yeah, it seems to be. And then she gets summoned She gets summoned to the what is it, like the head mistress's the head of the girl servants
Yeah,
office.
the chamber or
Uh,
office or whatever. And there's a
and
bunch of other girls there
there's a
too.
bunch of other girls there, and she's like, "This is never good." And a bunch of servant girls, like summoned by the upper classes. This isn't going to be good. And they all walk in, and Jinji walks in behind them. And there's a shot of the whole crowd of them, and you can actually see that there's a long stitch up the back of Mao's dress.
Mm-hmm.
The camera points it out, so it's not like you can miss it.
Yeah.
But he says, "Thank you all for gathering here." Um,
And the girls go wild.
yeah, because they love him because he's beautiful.
They're literally just all like, "Oh, blushy, blushy, oh, ah,
Mm-hmm.
oh." Just the whole crowd, except for Mao Mao in the very
Mama
back. She's just like
initially
not impressed.
Mama initially mistakes him for a woman. So,
Yeah.
um, and then just reiterates, it's just like, oh, you won't be able to have children. That's a shame.
What a crime.
Um, she's like, you're objectively beautiful, but that doesn't mean much to me. Um,
Yeah.
and he sits at a desk with a calligraphy pen, and he takes out a piece of paper, and he just writes down some characters while he speaks to them. It's just like, thank you for taking time out to come here, which is surprisingly like formal and grateful. He's just like, I am Jinchi, manager of the rear palace. He's the one in charge of the whole fucking operation.
Yep.
And he then, when he finishes, he holds up the piece of paper, and it says, "You with the freckles, stay behind." And he says, oh, "The rest of you," he says, "all of you are free to go back to your rooms now." And they go, "Huh? What? Okay." And they turn to leave, and she's just like, "Shit, shit, shit." And she
She's like,
realizes,
"Oh,
looking around at the others, it's like, none of them can read. This was a trap for me.
uh-huh." She turns to try and leave, but it's too late. She's already been noticed.
He's already got his firm but supple hand on her shoulder. He's just like, why don't you come with me? Hmm?
Mm-hmm. She's
Uh,
like, "Oh, damn, we're really in it this time,
we're
Mao
really
Mao."
in this time, and she's doing the thing where she's got both of her hands in her opposite sleeves, and she's holding it way up above her face the whole time with her head down. She's just like, shit, 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 shit. What is this guy gonna do to me?
Like,
Am I gonna be
"Oh."
punished about something? They found out. They didn't find out about the thing, did they? Um, and they eventually reach their destination, and he says, "I've brought her." And when they open the door, it's Lady Guillot and her bouncing baby boy, who seems to be in great spirits now. Uh, and she immediately just says, "Ah, it's you. Thank you for." Oh, it's her daughter. Yeah,
Yeah, it's her
she's got a
daughter.
girl.
Thank you for
I
saving my child.
yeah, it's not. I didn't think it was important, and I was just like, wait a second, that's actually plot critical.
That is very yeah,
But
important.
yeah, she just immediately is thank you for saving my child, and she's like, what? I couldn't possibly have been deserving of such kindness. I don't know what you're talking about. And Jinchi is just like, aha, you see, I've already mind fucked this whole thing. I know everything about it. It's just like, you see this message here, yes? It's just like, oh yeah.
I guess it
It's
looks
just like
familiar.
just like this fabric looks like the cloth from the serving girl's skirts, doesn't it? It's like maybe it's just like you'd be quite familiar with that as a laundress, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And she's just like, why did you write this note? And she's just like, back home, many of the elder courtesans used high grade face powder, and it poisoned them over time.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
used to.
watched their lights get sparked out one by one.
They traded life for beauty and lost both. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I used to be an apothecary, so I know a bit about poisons.
Yeah.
And Lady Gyo is looking at a container of white face powder, and she's just like, huh. She's just like, the nursemaid who looked after my child used this. She also got ill, and I gave her some time off. I should have been. Truly, it is a sin to be ignorant. I should have been paying more attention to what enters my child's mouth. I'm just like, good for you. And it's just like I tried to tell Lady Luhua, but she does not believe me. And basically, it all resolves. It's just like, okay, so what would you have me do? And they both just slide across the frame together, and they're just like starting today, you'll be lady in waiting. She's like, what? What do you mean? It's like that's your job now. Like, and the next scene is her just walking away back, presumably to get her things, and she's going, shit,
so much for not being noticed. Dang it.
Like she was trying so hard not to become involved to the point where she was just lying to them. She's like, I don't want to be beheaded for lying, but I don't want to be involved in whatever the fuck you're doing. And then that's basically the end of the episode.
That's the show.
Thoughts?
The
outro wasn't as impressive as the intro.
Yeah,
but
it was kind of like
it was pleasant enough.
It was like a floating character, just kind of hanging there. And then after the credits, there's like a clip for the next episode, which looks to be about poison again. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna have a lot of poison episodes, huh?
A lot of
ancient,
a lot of poisonings happening.
Yeah, that might not necessarily be true.
Ancient Chinese House MD.
Be glad
I literally wrote Dr. House moment in one of my notes.
Be glad you got. Hey, listen. Be glad you got court poisoning ancient China and not the emperor's concubine wife has gone insane and is torturing people.
Yeah. Oh God. There's a lot of episodes. There's 24 episodes of this so far.
One of the emperor's concubine wives in ancient China was literally so evil that it caused a popular uprising that destroyed the dynasty.
Funny.
Peasants rose up to murder her.
They were like, this we're not gonna stand for this.
That was after she did shit like cut off the bottoms of people's feet and make them walk across the ice fields outside the palace.
God.
Yeah.
Brutal. What a bitch.
They got up to some horrendous shit.
Sounds like maybe she deserved to get revolted against. I liked this show though. It went by really fast. I was like, how did I already watch that whole episode?
Yeah, it did not. It never dragged for me.
Yeah, like there was always something to be interested by. It looked nice,
visually stimulating, in many ways. Many beautiful women notwithstanding.
I feel like we don't watch enough anime with just lots of very beautiful women, do we?
It just has as many beautiful women. It's basically a set dressing. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what that's their job, right? Too. I think it's very funny that like this character is almost a little bit like my D&D character.
Oh yeah.
Not a super lot,
but
got that interest in plants in common.
Plants.
Well, plants.
What do you think, Blaggle?
I think that it was competently done, but it didn't really hook me.
You're not here for Chinese court drama. You don't give a shit about what.
That's the thing is that I'm not sure if it's going to continue being a court drama. It seems like it's kind of resolved itself.
What I'm reading is that a couple of people are calling this a mystery anime, which I think is fascinating and intriguing.
From what I understand, it does continue to have a lot of court politicking in it. With our viewpoint as from Meow, who has to like deal with the like side effects of court politicking.
Yes.
So it'll be like episodes of, hey, people are getting poisoned, or hey, you should stop smoking so much dope. It's going to ruin your health, or like you've managed to get yourself a rare venereal disease.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Gotta see that episode.
We mustn't let the Emperor know.
How did you even get this? Oh God.
There are straight up not supposed to be men here.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to say I would watch more of this. I found it to just sort of be charming. I think it's just hung on the fact that it is gorgeous, and I actually like Mao Mao's personality.
Yes. I like Meow Meow a lot.
She has an interesting protagonist dynamic of being completely unwilling, but also
not
completely
distressed.
Completely unable to control her curiosity.
Yes.
In other anime, she would be a villain.
Yeah, maybe.
Because she would be doing unethical experiments.
That's really true.
She's doing unethical experiments on herself.
She is doing those on herself.
Following the proud tradition of dudes who used to burn their own arms with mustard gas to find cures for it.
God.
Humans rule. Yeah, I definitely.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah. That guy is right up there with the guy who keeps getting himself bit by like velvet ants and shit.
Yeah, there's a few of those guys actually. They just want to get stung by every animal.
There was a guy either during or slightly after World War I who spent his time exposing patches of his skin on his hands to mustard gas so that he could test quick cures for the burning and poisoning of it. He eventually found some. He did a very good job, just in a very frightening way.
Horrific. That's what I said. Humanity rules.
The man was dedicated.
I definitely want to watch more of this. I like a show that revolves around medicinal care. It's kind of an interest for me. So. Hashtag not in a freak way, I promise. Hashtag JK.
You gonna watch more, Blackle?
Probably not, personally.
Yeah.
Give it another episode. And then drop it. But
Blackle doesn't usually have a lot of time for a lot of anime. Blackle has to be very
really
selective. Blackle has to be so selective. It's a little like
I get
tragic.
it. I get it. You're big and important, and you don't have time for.
We get it. You have other friends. Whoa! How dare we take so much of your time? No, I'm just kidding. I love you.
Anyway, if you have a secret message to leave to us wrapped around the stem of a rhododendron, you can do that at oneepisodecast@gmail.com.
That is one the word, not the number. Tweet us a picture of your secret message. We are at oneepisodecast on Twitter and Blue Sky.
Don't expect it to remain secret for very long, though.
No, yeah, like everyone else is following those, so like they will be seen, but you don't.
They will be seen.
Make a side account. I don't know.
They could be anonymous.
We don't have a Tumblr. You can't send us like a non-hate or anything.
We all individually have Tumblrs, but they're not like related to the podcast.
They're not. There's
even though I advertised it on mine. But
so yeah.
But yeah, if you desperately needed to tell us to stop using arsenic-based cosmetics.
Oh man, I love the taste of it though.
I'm sorry.
Dang.
I'm sorry that I'm willing to do what it takes to be beautiful.
For now.
Anyway, joke's over.
Joke's over. Go home.
Go home.